Thousands of people are sitting on brand new cars they absolutely hate, and the data proves it. One SUV has a 28% first-year resale rate. A $90,000 Jeep is depreciating so fast that owners are panicking, and 3 Mercedes models made this list back-to-back. And if you find this kind of content useful, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get into it. Number 13. Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf was a pioneer, one of the first mainstream electric vehicles ever made. And for a while, that was enough. It is not anymore. Here's the core problem. The Leaf was not built for the EV market of today. The range is limited, the charging standard is outdated, and newer EVs from every direction have left it behind. Owners expecting a capable, modern electric vehicle get a reality check fast, especially in colder climates where winter driving can slash the already modest range and leave owners stranded in situations they never expected. Then there's the depreciation. As EV prices keep dropping across the board, Leaf owners watch their resale value disappear in real time. Smart owners are upgrading to something newer. Others are just cutting their losses and getting out early. The Leaf had its moment, but that moment has passed, and the data proves it clearly. Pioneers get replaced, and right now Leaf owners are feeling that harder than almost anyone else in the EV market. Number 12. Mitsubishi Mirage G4. Here's one that might surprise you, because this car costs under $20,000 new. How bad can a $20,000 car really be? Bad enough to make this list. The core problem is simple. This car was not built for American highways. Owners describe merging onto the freeway or passing a semi-truck as genuinely nerve-wracking. People have flat out said they felt unsafe at highway speeds. That is a fundamental problem for a daily driver. And when you're not dealing with that, there's the cabin noise. Almost zero sound insulation. Long trips become exhausting. Owners describe it as driving a tin can at 70 miles per hour. Over 8% of Mirage G4 buyers resold within the first year on a car that only costs $19,600. That tells you everything. Number 11. Jaguar F-Pace. Jaguar has essentially walked away from their entire existing lineup to reinvent themselves as an all-electric brand. That means F-Pace owners are not just watching their car lose value, they're holding a vehicle from a brand that no longer exists in the way they bought into. That uncertainty absolutely destroys resale value, and smart owners are getting out while they still can. Then there's the infotainment. Despite several updates, owners say the system still feels a step behind BMW and Mercedes. For a car pushing $60,000, that gap between the price and the tech experience creates a very real feeling of I should have bought something else. Over 1 in 8 F-Pace buyers were out the door before the year was up. When the brand itself is in question, it's hard to stay committed to the car. Number 10. BMW 5 Series. One of the most storied sports sedans ever made, and yet buyers are bailing before month 12. The 2024 to 2025 redesign went almost completely buttonless. Physical controls are largely gone. Climate, audio, nearly every function now lives behind a touchscreen. Longtime BMW fans who expected that classic driver-focused cockpit are genuinely frustrated. They feel like they are operating a tablet, not driving a car. And beyond the tech, there is a character problem. The new 5 Series is bigger, heavier, and more comfort-oriented than its predecessors. Enthusiasts are calling it a mini 7 Series. Buyers who wanted that sharp, connected driving experience found something that did not deliver, and either dropped to a 3 Series or jumped to Porsche entirely. At nearly $68,000, that is a painful and expensive lesson. Over 13% gone within year 1. Number 9. Mercedes-Benz CLA. The CLA looks the part. Sharp styling, the 3-pointed star on the hood, starting around $50,000. For a lot of buyers, that is the entire pitch, and it works in the showroom, but then you drive it home. The materials do not feel $50,000 worthy, hard plastics in places that make you question every dollar you spent. The MBUX infotainment system frustrates owners daily. Screens freeze, voice commands misfire, and simple tasks require 4 taps through menus. And here's the brutal truth. A Mazda 3 or Honda Civic delivers a better driving experience and a nicer interior feel for almost half the price. When buyers figure that out, they do not stick around. Over 20% gone within year 1. Number 8. Range Rover Evoque. No question, the Evoque is one of the most stylish compact luxury SUVs on the market. The coupe-like roofline, the sleek silhouette, the Range Rover badge, it turns heads everywhere it goes. The problem is what happens after you drive it home. That gorgeous roofline that makes the Evoque so visually striking also kills rear visibility, and the rear seat, while technically a 5-seater, is basically unusable for any adult. Buyers often discover this the first time they try to put a real passenger back there. And this is still a Land Rover, so electronic hiccups arrive early and often before the new car smell has even faded. A lot of Evoque buyers are first-time luxury SUV shoppers who fell hard for the design, only to discover that day-to-day ownership at $58,000 is a very different experience than they expected. Over 16% resold within the first year. Style is great, substance matters more. Number 7. Mercedes-Benz GLA. Mercedes' entry point into the compact luxury SUV space, and entry level is exactly the right phrase. The GLA starts at around $48,500. Step inside and you will immediately notice more hard plastic than you would ever expect from a Mercedes badge. Within the first few thousand miles, those plastics start to creak and rattle. That is a deflating experience in any car, but in a Mercedes, it feels like a betrayal. Buyers crossing over from Toyota or Honda expecting that smooth luxury experience are genuinely caught off guard by how the GLA actually feels on rougher roads. The stiff suspension and run-flat tires make longer commutes noticeably choppy. When you buy the badge more than the car, reality checks in fast. Nearly 17% of GLA buyers resold within the first year. The badge alone is not worth $48,500. Number 6. Cadillac Escalade. The Escalade looks like the ultimate status symbol. Massive presence, premium badge, a cabin packed with technology, and at $80,000 to $100,000, it had better deliver on every single promise it makes. The problem is, it does not consistently anyway. Owners report electrical gremlins appearing surprisingly early, infotainment screens freezing, sensor warnings, minor issues that individually seem manageable but add up fast on a 6-figure vehicle. And when something does go wrong, the dealer experience and repair costs remind you very quickly that this is not a Toyota. Then there's the depreciation. The Escalade drops in value faster than most buyers expect for a vehicle at this price point. Owners who stretch their budget to get there feel that loss almost immediately. At $80,000 plus, buyers expect a vehicle that simply works without drama. What they often get is something that keeps them guessing, and at that price, that is simply not acceptable. Number 5. Land Rover Discovery Sport. At $55,000, the Discovery Sport looks the part. Premium styling, the Land Rover badge, a well-appointed interior. It checks every box on the showroom floor. But Land Rover reliability issues are not just internet chatter. They're well documented and brutally consistent. Owners describe a slow drip of small electronic problems that start showing up within the first few thousand miles. A warning light here, a sensor fault there. Then the dealership visits begin. It's rarely one big catastrophic failure. It's the accumulation of small problems that chips away at your confidence and your patience. 3 trips to the dealer in the first 6 months for minor electrical issues on a $55,000 car wears on people fast. A staggering 28% of Discovery Sport buyers resell within the first year. Nearly 1 in 3 owners on a brand new vehicle. And when you factor in first-year depreciation, most of those owners are walking away, leaving serious money on the table. Number 4. Mercedes-Benz GLB. Here's what makes the GLB story a little different. It is actually the most practical of the bunch. Boxy shape, more cargo space, and optional third row. On paper, it makes sense, so the high resale rate is genuinely surprising until you dig deeper. The same core problems apply. Hard plastic interiors that creak, MBUX reliability complaints, a ride that is stiffer than buyers expect. But what really drives the GLB numbers is the expectation gap. The GLB is positioned as an affordable alternative to the GLE. Buyers go in thinking they're getting a scaled-down version of a proper Mercedes SUV. What they get is a vehicle where the difference in refinement between the two is significant and very obvious once you've lived with it. Some owners step up to the GLE, others step away from the brand entirely. Either way, over 21% of GLB buyers made that call before the first year was up, on a car averaging $51,000 new. Number 3. Mazda CX-70. The CX-70 looks great on paper. Premium interior, smooth inline-six engine, sharp steering. So what went wrong? Identity crisis. The CX-70 is essentially a two-row version of the CX-90. Same body, same footprint, just no third row. And the moment buyers realize that on a $54,000 purchase, the regret sets in fast. Then there's the transmission jerkiness at low speeds, and the wireless charger that overheats phones without actually charging them. Small frustrations that add up quickly at this price. Nearly 1 in 4 CX-70 buyers resold within the first year. Not bad for a good car, but enough to make this list. Number 2. Porsche Macan. Here's where things get interesting, because the Macan is genuinely a great car. Owners rave about the PDK transmission and the way it drives more like a tall sports car than a traditional SUV. The Macan has a real dedicated fan base. So why does it land this high on the list? 2 reasons. First, maintenance costs hit hard. Even buyers who could comfortably afford the purchase price get a serious wake-up call at that first Porsche service visit. For buyers who did not fully account for the cost of ownership, that first bill is a shock they do not recover from. Second, Porsche buyers are a different breed. Many use the Macan as a stepping stone, purchasing it specifically to build a relationship with a dealer and earn an allocation for a more exclusive model. Once that goal is achieved, the Macan gets flipped fast. Either way, a massive 22% of Macan owners resold within the first year. Great car, expensive reality. Number 1. Jeep Grand Wagoneer. The biggest regret buy of the year, and it is not even close. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer arrives with a massive price tag. We are talking $90,000 to $110,000 for a fully loaded model. That is mortgage payment level money, and buyers who stretch to get there are setting themselves up for a very painful awakening. First, the fuel economy. In real-world driving, the Grand Wagoneer's MPG figures are brutal. Owners who did not fully calculate the ongoing cost of fueling this thing get hit hard and fast. Then comes the depreciation. The Grand Wagoneer is one of the fastest depreciating large SUVs on the market. Owners watch thousands of dollars evaporate in the first few months alone. Combine that with massive monthly payments, high insurance costs, and reliability complaints that surface early, and you have a recipe for immediate regret. Inventory sits on dealer lots for months. Owners who bought in on the luxury promise find themselves desperate to exit before the losses get even worse. Massive price, brutal depreciation, poor fuel economy, reliability concerns. Owners bail out fast, and they lose serious money doing it. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer is the number 1 regret buy by a wide margin. So there you have it. 13 cars that looked great on paper but turned into expensive regrets fast. From a $20,000 Mirage that feels unsafe on the highway to a $110,000 Jeep that loses value faster than almost anything else on the road. The data does not lie, and now you have it before making your next purchase. Drop a comment below if you have owned any of these. Did your experience match what the data says? Hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.